Is Leave the World Behind the newest, greatest prepping movie? Today's video, we're going to be doing a review on it and discussing it a little bit. Hey guys, Titan Apprentice, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are discussing Leave the World Behind, which is a new apocalyptic movie that hit Netflix in December of 23. And today's video we're going to do a quick rundown of what happens in the movie, and then discuss it as a prepper movie, as a prepper discussion movie. We're going to discuss what I like, what I dislike about this movie, and what it can mean for preppers and the future of America, I suppose. So let's get into it. This movie is about a family of four that goes on vacation. Their vacation is interrupted by both a family of two and a massive power outage / cyber attack. And these two family units have to work together to survive this apocalyptic event. So this movie is broken down into 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is called The House. It is your character introduction. You meet Julia Roberts, which plays the character Amanda, her husband Clay, the son Archie, which is like 17, 18, 19 years old, the daughter Rose, which is 13. They go to this house up in the Hamptons. They want a weekend vacation just to get away from things. They first get there, the kids jump in the pool. The mom Amanda says, hey, I'm going to run to town. So she goes to the grocery store, picks up her groceries, and she sees Danny, Kevin Bacon, loading up his vehicle with prepping supplies. She thinks it's weird, but he's not harming her, she's not harming him. So she goes back to the house. They end up going to the beach. While on the beach, Rose, the daughter, looks out at the ocean and sees a oil tanker kind of close. And they think, don't worry about it. A couple hours pass, and she looks up again. That oil tanker is getting extremely close now. Clay, the dad, is like, oh no, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. It'll stop. It has to stop. It's going to stop. It doesn't stop. So they grab all their stuff and they head for the hills, right? They get off the beach as this oil tanker is crashing into the shore where they're at. As they're leaving, they talk to the local cop and he says, yeah, this has been happening up and down the coast all day. It's kind of weird. Must be something to do with GPS. They make it back to the house. Kids jump in the pool. They cook dinner. Everyone's having a good time. But the big difference is that now the satellite TV and the Wi-Fi are both out of the house. They still have power because of a generator, but now the Wi-Fi and the TV are down. Later that night, the kids go to sleep. Mom and Dad are doing mom and dad things. They hear a knock on the door. It's an African-American man with his daughter, Ruth. GH is the dad, Ruth is the daughter. They say, hey, listen, this is our house, right? Y'all were renting it from us. We were wondering if we could spend the night because the place where we were at lost power, and we think that it's safer to stay here than to stay in the city where we live. So Amanda is very cautious of this. She's like, no, y'all don't have your IDs. I can't verify your story. She's very cautious because, of course, she has her kids upstairs. And what if they go in and they try to touch the kids? What if they're strangers? What if they murder us, right? Clay is very passive. He's like, oh, they're offering to give us money. We should let them stay, right? He had the keys to the liquor cabinet, so he has to be telling the truth. So they get back in the same shot, and they're discussing whether to stay or not. And Ruth is pulling up the TV, and it's a nationwide emergency broadcast being displayed on the TV. And so now the ideas of, hey, this could be a power outage, and the story that GH was telling might be truthful. The next morning, the family wakes up, and Ruth is discussing things that are above her pay grade. She's talking about the power plants. Where are the power plants located? What would happen if they go out? What would happen if they were attacked? And this is kind of like scaring Amanda. The two of them have already been bumping heads since night 1. But now it's like, okay, why are you discussing power plants at 18 years old? The dads decide, hey, let's go find some information. Clay says he's going to run into town to get a newspaper or, whatever, find information, while GH says he's going to go to the neighbor's house. We'll go with Clay's story first. He goes into town, or he's trying to go to town, and then he realizes he doesn't have a GPS unit, so he don't know where he's at. He ends up getting lost. His big event is that he meets a Hispanic woman. They can't understand one another, so he leaves her on the side of the road. As he's coming back, a drone is dropping these red flyers. And he doesn't know what they are, so he's speeding up trying to get away from the drone. What ends up covering the car in these red papers, and then that's kind of his end. GH, on the other hand, he goes to the neighbor's house, and while it's a nice house, it looks completely ransacked, right? Something has destroyed this house, right? You got clothes all over the front yard, you got the windows busted out. He walks in, and there's inches worth of water in the house. So he's looking around for information, looking around for the people. He finds a satellite phone, he points it up to the sky. It doesn't work. He thinks, that's kind of weird. So he goes out to the beach, and he sees something shiny. He goes to reach for it. It's a dead body. oh damn. He starts looking around, the camera pans out, and you see a plane crash over here, you see dead bodies over here, you see luggage over here. And as he's sitting there like examining everything, he hears another plane, and that plane is headed directly for him. So he runs, he barely makes it back inside of the house. As this plane hits the water, big wave comes up, crashes through the windows. So he makes it back to his own house. He's talking with Amanda, he's talking with his daughter, and he's talking about the satellite phone, he's talking about the plane crashing. He's like, the satellite phone did not work, and they are supposed to work, right? If you can see the sky, you should be able to get a satellite phone to work. It's not working, so the satellites must be down. He also mentions the planes. He's like, you know, a plane crashed once before and then crashed again while I was there. So something is going wrong. My wife was on a plane, so chances are she's probably dead. This chapter ends with a loud shrill going on. Amanda runs out of the house trying to find her kids, and it's this ear-piercing shrill of a noise that happens, and she doesn't know what's going on, right? It confuses, it dazes people. That's how the chapter ends. Chapter 3 kicks off with Clay returning to the house holding one of the red flyers. He's like, I don't understand it. It's in Arabic. What's going on? You know, why are they dropping these? And Archie, the son, is like, hey, I might not be able to read it, but I know that that means death to America. So Amanda starts thinking, oh crap, you know, do we have prepping supplies? Do we have enough food? Do we have enough gas in the generator, batteries in the flashlights? Do we have life straws? Can we fill up the bathtubs? She says, actually, you know what? There was a guy at the store the other day that knew that this attack was coming. He was loading up his truck full of prepping supplies. He knew about it. Well, GH knows Danny, and he's like, no, that's probably just his weekly trip to the store. Like, it's nothing to think about. That's probably just what he stocks up on weekly. Well, they decide, hey, we're going to leave where we're at and go to our sister's house in New Jersey. The family of 4 does. So they hop in their car, and they're trying to make it to the freeway to try to make it to New Jersey. They get to the freeway. It's blocked by brand new Teslas. The mom and dad get out. They're exploring. Mom's reading all this information on the side of the cars, and it says self-driving. And so she puts 2 and 2 together that no one was driving these vehicles as one comes around the bend and is headed directly for them. They hop back in the car. They're swerving in and out as the cars keep crashing into one another. They make it back to GH's house. GH lets them back in and says, hey. Chapter 4 is called The Flood, and it splits off the dad and daughter. So you've got Clay and Ruth talking, and then you've got GH and Amanda talking. So Clay, you know, his story's not really that important, but GH and Amanda, they're discussing what GH does for a living and how he works and how he's works for these black book companies, these black book people who do government contracts that don't exist. And he says, like, one guy he works with, he's a real jokey guy, and the one time they met, he was talking about, oh, he's, you know, joking about controlling the world, right? Well, that guy ends up calling GH right before this outage hits. So he says, I need to move a lot of money and do it quick. So GH moves all this money, and he's like, oh, you're going to go party with the, you know, Illuminati people. And he's like, it's dead silence. There's no joking, there's no laughing. And he says, you take care of yourself. And that kind of sends up GH's red flag of, oh shit, something's coming. And then the power outage hits, and that's why he abandons where he lives to go to this beach house. This part of the movie is ended by another shrill that happens, and this time it knocks out the power. It breaks the windows, it knocks the power out, so now the families are sent into darkness. Where they were, you know, at least had lights and power on, now they're sent into complete darkness. The next morning, Archie wakes up, and he wasn't feeling well the night before, and they don't know if it's because of a tick or if it's because of the noises, but he starts yanking his damn teeth out. And he gets like 3-4 in before Amanda's like, oh my God, please stop. I'll take you to the ER. Well, they're talking with GH, and he's like, you can't go to the ER, right? The ER is closed. The freeways are closed. There's no power here, which means there's no power there. Like, where are you going to go? Let's take him to Danny's house. All this time, Rose, the daughter of the family of 4, is missing, right? She came up missing, and no one knows where she's at. So the girls decide they're going to team up and find the daughter. The guys decide to go to Danny's house. Amanda and Ruth go walking in the woods looking for the daughter, and the two have bumped heads this entire movie, right? They've been confrontational the entire movie, but this is the first part you see where they kind of come together. Ruth realizes, hey, her mom's probably dead, and she can only take care of her dad for so long. Like, that's the only thing that matters to her, is her and her dad. Amanda, on the other hand, is kind of like, I get we're both confrontational. Let's hug it out. Amanda finds tire tracks, and she's like, I bet my daughter went this way. So as she goes to follow them, she turns back around, and Ruth is being surrounded by these deer. And you're thinking, oh man, she's going to get impaled. She's going to get trampled by these deer. Amanda runs up. They scare the deer off. Luckily, the deer goes away. Their last shot is of them looking at the New York skyline from a distance, but they hear gunshots. They see a plane flying over. They see atomic bombs being dropped, or some sort of mushroom cloud expanding over New York. And they're like, oh crap, we're really at war now. The guys, on the other hand, they head to Danny's house. They say, Danny, you need to help this guy's kid. Right, he's pulling his teeth out. He might have been bit by a tick, or it might be the noise. And Danny's like, look, it could be that Havana syndrome that happened a couple years ago, where the microwaves and the noises caused people to go crazy and caused people to have issues, medical issues. He's like, but I can't offer you nothing. So GH and Danny, the prepper, have this Mexican standoff where they're both pointing their guns at one another. And the dad, Clay, jumps in between them, and he's like, look, Danny, without electricity, without the GPS, without the Wi-Fi, without the internet, I am a useless human being. But the one thing I'm trying to do right now is save my boy. I don't have anything to offer you other than this cash that I got from GH. That's the only thing I can offer you right now. So finally Danny's like, yeah, okay, I'll give you some meds for that money. As they are going to leave the house, Danny says, hey, this is probably North Korea or China, one of the Asian countries that's probably doing this. They show Danny the red flyer that says Death to America in Arabic, and Danny brings up the fact he was talking to a guy in California before, while this all kicked off. He said that guy has done many tours overseas, and he might not be able to read Arabic, but he would know Arabic writing. So it sounds like they're dropping different flyers in different locations. He also mentions that there might be a bunker closer to GH's house, and that they probably should head for that. They get back in the car, and GH is talking about his contractor friend that he knows. He says there was a 3-step plan on how to take over these countries without putting boots on the ground. The first one is isolation. You take out the power, you take out the GPS, you isolate these people. The second one is create chaos, right? You're dropping different flyers in different regions so these people think that other people are attacking them. You're creating the Havana syndrome noise, right? And the third step is civil war. Let these people fight it out. It is the most cost-effective way of taking over a country without putting boots on the ground. He's like, and we're at step 2 right now. Step 3 comes next. The ending shot is Rose. She has already found the bunker. The daughter, she's found the bunker in this entire movie. She's trying to watch the Friends episode. So she goes to this bunker. It has power. It's got food. It's got water. It's got everything you need to survive the apocalypse. She finds the movie. She puts it in. She's watching this movie. It pans over to the computer, and the computer is bringing up like news alerts. And it's talking about the power outage, it's talking about the hackers hacking the power, and then it shows New York elevated radiation levels. So that mushroom cloud was probably some sort of atomic bomb or some sort of nuclear weapon. And that's how the movie ends. So what do I think about the movie? I think it's an okay movie, like a 5 out of 10 score. Like, it's not very action-packed, it's not very suspenseful. It builds up, builds up, builds up, and then it just kind of like flattens. One of the reviews I watched said it was like having blue balls the whole movie. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Because they build, and then it just, yeah, and that's it. And the ending's the same way. Like, you're like, what happens to the families? Are they living in the bunker? How long can they live in the bunker? Oh, we don't know. We're just going to end it. So I don't know if this is going to be a 2-part movie, or if it's going to be, lead into the movie coming out called Civil War, or what's going to go on with it. This movie was produced by President Obama, or former President Obama, depending on who you ask. It was produced by his production company, and from the reports, they said that using his presidential knowledge, he helped make the movie more realistic. He gave more information than some other individuals would have that weren't in his level of power. So it does bring up like the Havana syndrome, which was a news story for like a week and then went away, 5-6 years ago. It's not a good prepper movie. It is a good prepper discussion movie because you can get your friends, your coworkers to watch it and be like, what would you do in that scenario? What would you do in that event? Do you have the prepping supplies that Amanda talks about? Are you like Danny and you are ready for whatever is to come? Or are you like this family that is just surviving on the luck of the draw? It is a good discussion movie. I've got coworkers now that are like, hey, what would you do in this event? And now we're talking prepping because they watched a movie. And that's kind of where this line draws. Now, some people say it's predictive programming. Some people say that they put this movie out so when it does happen, you're not, you're used to it. if it does happen, are you ready for it? I guess it would be my next question. Again, it wasn't a great movie, but it is a good discussion movie. I have individuals that are now talking to me about this movie who were not preppers beforehand, but now I can get them on board with being more prepared, at least for a 3, 4, 5 day power outage. Because we all know that if this event happens, it's going to be longer than just the 3 days in this movie. It's going to last for weeks, months, years, especially when you talk about radiation and you talk about this and that and the other. It's going to last for a long time. So if you do think that this is the future, you best be ready for it. Alright guys, let me know if you've enjoyed the movie. Let me know if you're even watching it. If you have watched it, what do you think about it? Let me know down below your thoughts. And let me know some other good, better prepper movies. Alright guys, that's all I got. Hope y'all stay safe out there. T2 out.